Before this episode begins, Matt, Theo, I have a question for you guys. Do you think if we put all of our heads together that anyone would be able to beat us in a fantasy league?
I don't suppose so, no.
Well, you and me got last in the fantasy league. So
Don't.
maybe.
Theo, quiet. But we are doing a listener fantasy football league. You guys are finally going to get your chance to beat us in fantasy. And if you want a chance to compete, just email us at stayhotpodcast@gmail.com with the subject line, Stay Hot Fantasy League. Include a brief message in the form of an email or 1 to 2 minute video stating why you think you deserve to be included in the league. And most importantly, you're going to get a chance to win $500, and all $500 will go to the winner of the championship. So make sure you come prepared.
And don't draft Rashad Penny. Only I get to do that.
What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Bladen Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. We're going to go over training camp. We haven't really done a big training camp discussion, so that's what today is going to be. We're talking about some winners, some losers, who seems to be up, who seems to be down, and then we're going to finish off the show with a Rank It segment from, of course, the chalkboard. Make sure you guys go ahead and join the chalkboard. Link will be in the description of the YouTube and in the bio of all of our social platforms. But before we get into that, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good.
Lovely.
I'm also doing all right. Not much going on in my life. So
Theo, you don't have a story, nothing to smile about?
Nothing to smile about in my life right now.
Dog.
I went fishing the other day and it's been a while, and I hooked one fish and I forgot to set my drag, so it snapped my line because it was all the way up.
Oh,
brutal.
And then it got in a big tangle and it ruined my whole day.
I'm sorry.
So
Theo.
I'm going to go trout fishing again here on Friday, though. I wasn't trout fishing the first time, but I'm going to go fishing for trout on Friday. That's my big plan. So Hopefully that goes a little bit better, which is also an elite activity. Like fly fishing fly fishing specifically.
Fly fishing?
Fishing's cool.
Okay.
Fly fishing might be the best thing there is to do. Like,
I've never been
seriously.
fly fishing, so
It's hard, dude. It's with the whipping it back and forth. I'm still not amazing at it, but I'm pretty good. Like if I'm at a stream with a fly rod, I can get a couple of trout out of there,
and it's fun.
But I might also catch a few weeds on my back cast occasionally.
I mean, that's that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you catch a fish, sometimes you catch something else. But
it's called fishing, not catching, you try, you don't always succeed. It's called fishing, not catching. So, but that's not even something that's happened to me. That's something that's going to happen to me. So
it's going to happen. Okay. Theo's just in his mundane era.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
You're in your flop era, dude. I hate to say that, but
I need to catch a trout immediately to get back into the groove of things.
You're not slaying at all at the moment, and I fear.
Where's Rank It Best Trout? All right, because I've got opinions on that. Best trout.
I do not have opinions on best trout. I can't lie.
No, we're
Brook
doing
trout
superheroes.
1, brown trout 2.
Yeah, the rank it's on super. Is there a? You could say Aquaman as your favorite superhero, because then he can catch you all the trout.
He has all these powers, and he doesn't even. Yeah, he does. He has all these problems. He has all these powers, and he doesn't even use them to go fly fishing. So he's a bottom tier superhero to me. He's like, bro, you could go trout fishing whenever you want.
Though, no.
Yeah, he's not fish are friends, not food.
I've never seen him with a trout. You've got high level fish in streams that he's ignoring for big sharks and stingrays and stuff. He's gone Hollywood.
If you're going to war, you'd rather have a trout than a shark?
It's not war all the time. He's got some downtime. Go to the streams. All right, go to your roots.
Well, is Aquaman
Coastal
only allowed to interact
really.
with saltwater creatures, or?
I don't know. Everything's aquatic. I've never seen Aquaman. I've never read the comics. I don't know. I just know that he's in the comics depicted as this goofy loser, and in the movies he's depicted as this Jason Momoa god. Yeah. So it's not even staying true to his character. But anyway, that's maybe my least favorite superhero is Aquaman. But anyway,
all the Aquaman fans have immediately left the Stay Hot episode. But before we get into training camp, Matt has a big message for us today.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Odds Trader. For play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking, Odds Trader is the place to go. They have the best price on every game and sign-up offers for multiple sports books. Plus, they have player statistics, key game stats, and even projected game day weather. You can use their bet tracker to keep records of all your games and betting activity. Odds Trader is the #1 site for all your game day bets. To begin your handicapping journey, make sure to go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. Odds Trader is the beginning of your best bets for all sports. Download in the App Store today.
I want a rank it segment of like who does the best ad reads.
Me one.
Yeah, after that performance.
Hall of Fame ad read by Matthew Sponauer. All right, so let's talk about training camp. I think we could start with the quarterback battles that are going on. Obviously, in Pittsburgh, we have Trubisky and Pickett. From what I've heard on Twitter, both have been bad, and I'm starting to wonder if we could see Mason Rudolph week 1.
There is no chance. Like, when you've got Trubisky, who is just... Look... You've got hope, like you got to sell some hope to the fan base, right? And if all three are bad, Mason Rudolph is the least inspiring option. So if you're going to go to Mason Rudolph, like it would just be useless because you might as well give Pickett some reps at that point. I don't know. It's like, because they've got playoff hopes, right? And Mason Rudolph is not going to get you there. Like Pickett, it's not going to be Mason Rudolph. It's not going to be Mason Rudolph. This is all a disjointed rant to say.
It'll be Trubisky until. Oh, sorry. It'll be Trubisky until he inevitably like week whatever, and then they'll put in Pickett. Once Trubisky has like a couple bad games in a row, and the Steelers fans start chanting for Pickett.
Notorious common Trubisky L.
Plus, I haven't even heard that Trubisky has been that... Well, maybe that's not true. But I've heard that he's been pulling ahead and pretty solidly getting first-team reps the entire time. So I just think, like, reading the leaves there, like, Trubisky this entire time has been getting the first-team reps. That's their plan. That's their starter. And... if he's looked bad in training camp, that's no surprise considering he stinks, okay? And Steelers fans should be ashamed of themselves for the way they were hyping him up after they signed him. Pickett, though, I mean, the scouting report on Pickett is also, like, to have all the other quarterbacks go in round 3 when I don't think he was head and shoulders above them, like, kind of speaks volumes to, like, maybe the Steelers overdrafted him and now they can't beat... He can't look good in a camp that includes Mason Rudolph and Mitch Trubisky. To me, that's like, I get that he's just a rookie and everything, but it's a little like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have picked him that high.
Yeah,
Pickett him that high.
I mean, we've seen Matt Corral has been kind of going viral on Twitter for making some absolute laser throws, perfect dimes.
They're starting Baker.
He might. No, they're not. They're starting.
No, they are. I literally guarantee it. And I'll bet you this.
Would you bet your life?
I'll bet my life on it. They're starting Baker. Barring injury, they're starting Baker. They're not putting in Corral. And here's another thing I'll bet you. If Baker goes down, they'll put in Darnold before they put in Matt Corral.
Oh, brother. That breaks my heart.
Corral needs time. They're not going to put him at.
I know. But, like, we're talking over here about the Steelers and proven mid with Mason Rudolph. Bro, Darnold's proven awful.
Yeah. Like that's my projection.
At least Corral, like...
before Corral.
I think Corral would be exciting, right? Like, in an event where, like, Baker, like, unfortunately would go down, like, I think you could rejuvenate some hope, like not just within like the fans, but within the team of like, instead of putting in Darnold and everyone knows Darnold sucks.
I think
you don't want to ruin Corral though. That's the thing. You don't want to ruin Corral by putting him in and all of a sudden he scores 2 touchdowns versus 7 picks. And same thing with Pickett, like to bring it back to the Steelers. If someone's not ready, sit him a year. Mike Tomlin's job is Teflon. So you can you have the job security.
Yeah,
that even
that's
if
true.
Trubisky is bad, get someone
Matt
up to
Rule
speed,
does
you know?
not have the job
Matt
security.
Rule doesn't, but at the same time, he can't, if you put in Corral and he's bad, like, then that's also horrible. But anyway, like, I don't think sitting rookies for a year, 2 years is even a bad thing. We talk about this when we talk about Trey Lance and everybody who writes him off because he didn't beat Garoppolo out last year. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be the worst player going forward, right? And same thing with Pickett if he doesn't beat out Trubisky. Granted, Trubisky's even worse than Garoppolo is, but a year to sit, a year to train. I mean, if you get a year to prepare for any job, you're going to be better at the job. So, it's as far as Corral goes and as far as Pickett goes and as far as all the rookie Ritter, all the third Howell, whoever you want to point to, and if you're excited about them, if they don't win the starting job right away, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Drew Brees didn't win the starting job right away. Mahomes didn't. Rodgers didn't. Brady didn't. It's most quarterbacks didn't. Lamar Jackson didn't. So when we're talking about these quarterback battles, and yes, it's concerning that Pickett hasn't lit it up. I mean, you would love to see him be great, but having a year to learn, even if he doesn't beat out Trubisky, that honestly makes me feel better about his future in a way. So it's the battles with two veterans, I guess, that become a little bit more, if you don't make it, you
Lock
don't
and
make
Gino.
Right. Yeah.
What is the discussion, or what is the rumors out of camp with Cia? I haven't heard a lot about them this offseason.
Locke is that's what I've heard. I've heard that Locke has, made some really nice throws. And usually the caveat with Locke is he's made some really good throws, but he's also made the worst throws. But I haven't really heard much about those awful moments in training camp for Locke. And like I said, I've always been a little bit high on Locke. And I think Judy sold him a lot. And his wide receivers on his the drop rate sold.
I saw a highlight reel of Drew Lock throwing some nice dimes and they just get dropped.
Dude, Drew Lock, seriously, every time I watched him, I'm a little bit more impressed than I should be about Drew Lock. I would love to see him win the starting job in Seattle, but I really think he has to just totally light it up to beat out Geno. I know Locke is the bigger name and Geno hasn't started since 2014, so people just forget that Geno Smith is a thing, but it would surprise me if Geno Smith doesn't start week one. And Geno Smith didn't play all that horribly for them when he came in last year. So, yeah, I would say that Geno is winning that quarterback battle, but I really do think Locke could.
Do you think Locke gives them a better? I almost wonder if Locke gives them a better chance to actually be a good team.
I'd start Locke.
I kind of would too.
I don't know. Maybe Locke pretty low odds to work out, but what are you doing with Geno Smith?
Yeah,
with Geno, I would say. I mean, if you could say that he protects the football, because they're running an offense like a McVay offense that's very horizontal, that made Jared Goff look like a top 5 quarterback. If you can say we've got a good scheme, if you can just execute the scheme and be an extension of the coach and just not make mistakes, we can move the ball up and down the field. Then I would go with Geno, because I think I trust him to have the footwork and the accuracy a little bit more than I trust Locke. But if Locke looks good in preseason, then that kind of opens up the field in ways that Geno doesn't quite.
That's what I'm thinking. The receivers you have with DK and Lockett, I'm bro, if you're worried about Locke airing out some throws, you have 2 of the best deep threat receivers in football. So and DK's really good after the catch, and Lockett, I think, has the best deep ball tracking in the league.
Yeah, but it's not really a vertical offense is the thing.
Yeah,
it's not really an offense like what they were doing with Russ. And even when Russ, I mean, technically it was the same coordinator, but Russ just plays this way, so you kind of adjust to it. You're not going to see those vertical shots as frequently as you did, even with Locke. So I don't know. It depends on pre-snap and grasp of the protections and all of that. But I don't know. I don't know who I would start. I guess I'm not in training camp, but I see the logic to starting Geno for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard.
But you'd start Locke?
Oh, yeah.
I lean
Easily.
towards
And I'm
Locke.
supposed to be the Locke fan on this podcast.
Well, okay.
Wow.
If you're dealing with two chronically mid quarterbacks, give me the guy that's a little bit more talented. I guess.
So last year with Bridgewater and Locke, you would have started Locke. I would have started Locke with Bridgewater too. But then Bridgewater, I think, ended up having a okay season for them. So I
that
feel
is
like
true. I don't know.
last year was my thought process. I was like, well, I would start Locke over Bridgewater. And then I think Bridgewater wasn't great, but like kind of proved me wrong by being better than Locke. Most likely
salvageable. Yeah, I don't know.
But maybe, I mean, they didn't make the playoffs. The offense wasn't that good, so maybe it didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
speaking of Teddy Bridgewater and quarterback battles, will he beat out Tua? Will he beat out Tua in Miami? Will Tua fend off Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater?
Doesn't look great for him.
I've heard
he's in trouble.
Our favorite Dolphins fan Nico has been salivating over Tua in camp so far, because apparently he's been making some pretty nice throws here and there. He's been making some pretty nice throws here, but every once in a while I see one I have to comment underthrown ? I don't know.
I've got to start a master list of just every player who's getting hyped in training camp, so I can look back.
Dude, the hit rate
and
is
be like, remember
that's a
when?
good idea.
It's
That's
random.
a good idea.
I remember one of the most hyped player in the training camp and preseason process that I can remember is Daniel Jones. I will say that. Giants fans in the comments back me up on this. Do you remember the preseason that Daniel Jones had?
Last
year, he looked like he was
or-
him. No, his rookie year. His
Oh,
rookie
okay.
year really looked
Preseason
like Daniel
Daniel
Jones was
Jones.
like. He was like preseason MVP. Tua might. I think I've said this before. I think that Tua with those weapons obviously is going to win the starting job, and I'm just kidding. And I think that he's going to have a decent season because, we saw what Josh Allen did or Stephon Diggs did for Josh Allen, and we see what Jamar Chase does for, Joe Burrow this year, and we've seen what. Oh, I'm trying to think. Any like elite wide receiver can do for a young quarterback. It elevates him. And as good as Josh Allen has become and as good as Joe Burrow was last year, to really reach that full potential, you need weapons. So I think that Tua is going to take a substantial jump up, like efficiency wise. And you're going to see some silly arguments about him being better than he is because of the efficiency numbers, like we've seen with Baker and Goff and who else has Garoppolo.
Kirk
I think he's going to be
Cousins.
efficient. Kirk to an extent, but Kirk is legitimately all right. But
Yeah.
that's
fine.
kind of the season I'm projecting for Tua, which I've said before. And then Dolphins fans were like, they're already making excuses for when Tua is good. It's like, yeah, I guess. I'm ready and willing to attribute a lot of it to system and Tyreek Hill, I admit.
And Waddle. Waddle's still very good.
And Waddle.
But yeah, Tua will win the job. How are we feeling about Trey Lance? Because last year, Trey Lance looked like he had some really nice throws in camp. And then early on this year, people were like, oh, 49ers offense looks kind of shaky. I don't know, but I think he's going to be good. I still have hope for Trey Lance with that Shanahan offense. I mean, here's the thing. Like, even if I think he could be like basically Jalen Hurts level last year, and the 49ers offense would be better than it was with Jimmy Garoppolo.
As long as you were willing to throw it downfield, you'll probably be better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Lance's have been inconsistent. Like last news I heard, he went like in a team drills, he went like 12 for 14 and rushed for a 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And then the day before, he went like 4 for 12 and threw 3 picks. And then the day before that, he like led this totally nails game-winning drive. So I don't know. I remember last training camp for them, there was a day where Jimmy Garoppolo threw like 5 picks in one day. So I'm still on the Lance will be better than Jimmy train pretty heavily.
But I seriously, I don't think he has to be like like that much better. I don't even think he has to be better as a passer than Garoppolo. I just think the running alone opens up that offense so much that it'll just be a massive improvement. Like I just don't.
Draft Trey Lance in fantasy. That's my take. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if we're going to talk about like the fantasy relevance of some of these camps, because I think that's what a lot of people are looking for is like fantasy sleepers, who's going to get opportunity. Draft Trey Lance. Okay. Jalen Hurts was like, I think that's a decent comparison to draw. Like Jalen Hurts struggled a little bit on some passing concepts last year and all that, and still finished as one of the best fantasy quarterbacks.
Yep.
If people are going to fade Trey Lance, like take advantage of that, because he's just going to rush for like 7 touchdowns, 6, 7, 8, 9 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
No,
Matt, you should trade for him in your dynasty league. Do you have him in fantasy, Matt? I know
Trey
that you
Lance?
have every player in fantasy.
No, I don't have Trey Lance in fantasy. I'm already
that's
set
tough.
at quarterback. I fear I got Kyler and Lamar.
Who are your quarterbacks?
Kyler, Lamar,
Oh.
and Jameis Winston, and it's a 2 quarterback league. So,
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Is it best ball?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. No,
I tried to join
you're good.
a big dynasty league. I want to join a dynasty league startup, and I looked and I can't find any. So maybe I'll just make one. But the thing is, we've got our fantasy league that
Yeah.
we're promoting, right? And it's like a big thing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like steal that thunder by being
Could
like,
we?
I'm going to make my own.
Could we get like a dynasty provider to sponsor us? Is that like?
just
I'll keep an eye out for one. I'm sure there's always guys looking for spots to get filled in leagues. So I'll
Yeah.
pass
Do you
it
have
out
any
to guys.
49ers? Matt, I want to ask you as the dynasty guy,
Mm-hmm.
what rookies are you paying the most attention to in camp for your own fantasy gain?
In camp? I don't know. I would say that I'm looking mostly for, because like there's huge rosters on this league. It's like not even like just dynasty, but it's like normal fantasy. I'm looking mostly at a lot of the rookies to see if any of them can just get on the field. Like maybe a Darian Beavers is the type of guy who didn't go in the draft, but I could reasonably see working his way up into being like an actual player. And
Yes.
maybe some of the more valuable defensive positions. But I would say that for like running back, all the running backs are. It's like the most valuable position. Everyone's already got something. Or quarterback, you're not going to find a serious viable quarterback in a 14-team league with 70-man rosters. You're not gonna be able to do
Yeah.
that. So I'm mostly paying attention to the depth charts of the defense.
Okay.
What are your
Interesting.
thoughts on Pickens right now, Matt? Fantasy wise, I mean, he's been super active as far as like energy and effort plays. Do you think he can come in and make an immediate impact in Pittsburgh?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's going to be tough with a bad quarterback situation. There's a lot of guys there.
Yeah.
If you're saying that Pickens is going to be fantasy relevant, you're saying he's going to be really good. Like he's going to be unbelievable immediately.
Because who are you dealing with? You're dealing with Deontay. He's going to be better than Deontay. He's going to be better than Claypool. You've got Freiermuth, who a lot of people are projecting to
Yeah.
break out.
I like
and how
Freiermuth
many
a lot.
receptions is Najee Harris going to get?
and
how many
the quarterback
like-
situation is terrible. It makes no
Right,
sense.
like-
So how many possessions are you really going to have?
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
I have no idea how there's going to be this many fantasy relevant Steelers players. Oh, they have 3 receivers, a tight end, and a running back. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe Pickens is very good. I don't know about him for fantasy. Like he would have to be. Let's say if there was like the 15. Let's DJ Moore was in this situation. Let's say Pickens is as good as DJ Moore out the gate. You wouldn't feel great about him. It's not a good position. And Pickens is
Yeah.
a rookie. I mean, I guess with Moore, you'd still draft him way, way high, but I don't know. I think it's a really tough spot to put a rookie in.
No, that's
He's a rookie, and he's also. I always think about it as like rookie wide. Like I just do not like, and we've talked about it before. Trubisky is probably going to be the starter there, but even if you're projecting like Pickett to take over at some point, I do not like wide receivers on teams led by rookie quarterbacks. I just do not like it. And last year I was fading Allen Robinson, and he had a horrible year. And who else?
Right.
Like, who are the rookie quarterback starters last year? Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Which one of his wide receivers were fantasy relevant? None of them.
None of
Mac
them.
Jones. None of them.
Hey, I faded
Trevor
Corey.
Lawrence.
I faded
None of
Corey
them.
Davis so hard. Everyone loved Corey Davis last year.
He was good for me to begin the season while I was patiently waiting for Michael Thomas to return. I was like, we'll go with Marvin Jones and Corey Davis, which I don't even know why I did that, because I don't even like wide receivers who are led by rookies, but I was like, those are some talented players. But anyway, just avoid them. And this year, maybe no rookies will start right away. So it's pretty easy. But even so, like, Trubisky also, he might as well be a rookie with the way his brain works on the football field, like he's nervous.
He's nervous.
I'm way more interested in like Sky Moore.
Yeah. Or even like Dubs.
Yeah, I think like the upside on that is like way, way, way high. Even if Pickens is awesome, he's in a terrible position. Sky Moore, if Sky Moore is awesome, he's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. He's in a perfect position.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd much rather take a shot on a guy like that.
The only guy taking receptions away from Sky Moore is like Travis Kelce. Maybe Juju.
Oh, Juju's there. But
Juju's good.
Mecole Hardman, I think, is someone that people just totally forget about.
Mecole Hardman, he's nice.
I don't think he's that nice, but he's nice. Drafted to be the Tyreek Hill replacement. This is what he was drafted to do, because Tyreek Hill, like, very clearly looked like he was guilty of some heinous stuff, and then he miraculously pulled the NFL player card somehow and like got out of it. I mean, the Chiefs had just cut Kareem Hunt for doing like a way tamer thing than what Tyreek Hill allegedly did. I really thought Tyreek Hill was going to be gone, and then like nothing happened with him. But like that was right before the draft, and then they drafted Mecole Hardman to like be the new Tyreek Hill, and then they just got Tyreek Hill back, and then they were like, well, no, now we don't need Mecole Hardman, and they just kept him on the roster to run jet sweeps. So like now, he could maybe do what he was meant to do and be a real wide receiver. So I think that I wouldn't draft him in fantasy or anything, but I do think that Sky Moore is going to have some competition. It's not just going to be like, oh, here you go, you're wide receiver one, even though like Juju and MVS and Mecole Hardman have all been in the league a long time. But there is potential there, Matt. I agree that Sky Moore probably has more upside than George.
He's also playing with an amazing quarterback, where if he is wide receiver
quarterback,
it's not the end of the world.
He's playing with the 32nd best player in the NFL.
One of these wide receivers is going to be hurt. Maybe it'll be Sky Moore, but at some point there will be games where he is very clearly on the field in 11 personnel, I think. So, yeah, I like him. I still like Treylon Burks, even though all the news out of training camp has been suspicious. I don't care.
I've seen some good plays.
If you had to bet, we're just turning this into a fantasy segment. If you had to bet, what rookie wide receiver puts up the most production year one?
Probably.
And why is it Romeo Doubs?
I mean, if you have Rodgers throwing to you, and who else is in that receiving room? Like, was it Alan Lazard?
I'm saying Romeo Doubs. That's why I'm legitimately saying that is my answer. Okay, Romeo Doubs, best rookie wide receiver.
Doesn't Aaron Rodgers not like rookie receivers usually?
No, he doesn't he does not like rookie wide receivers usually, but that's gonna impact Christian Watson, and Doubs is gonna get the pass. He's gonna get the second year treatment because he's already done so good in training camp. But Watson has been hurt in training camp, so he's gonna get in with no chemistry, and he's gonna get the rookie year. He's not.
We're seeing 120
Doubs,
Randall Cobb targets.
No, we're seeing 120 Romeo Doubs targets. Look, he was great at Nevada. He legitimately stuck out to me when I watched Carson Strong. I was like, whoa, number 7, geez. I watched some game where he had 150 yards. So he was always kind of on my radar, and now he's just been torching everybody not named Jair Alexander in Packers camp. Give me some Romeo Doubs over Drake London, over Treylon Burks. Over anybody.
I'll say I love Drake London. I love Drake London. But with Mariota throwing the ball, I don't know how much I love Drake London. I think Garrett Wilson could legitimately be just like out the gate amazing.
He will be.
I mean, not even just like as the fact that he is a phenomenal receiver and like his tape from college shows that he can just do everything. But like, bro, Zach Wilson, what did Zach Wilson thrive doing in college? Just like
throwing it out of completely clean pockets and throwing it to
a receiver that can. But what did that? But when he's throwing for his receiver to go get him shit, right?
He does have a lot of faith.
Yeah,
he does.
I remember
he does have a lot of
50-50 balls. Well,
a lot of 50-50
balls.
They're not 50-50 anymore, man.
Fact, 70-30 with Garrett Wilson on the field. I like Garrett Wilson to go get shit for Zach Wilson. I think that can be a really good connection early on. Unless like
I also think
Elijah Moore
that's a scheme.
Ends up being a breakout. That would be the other thing.
That's a scheme with San Francisco like coming in, or with the coaching staff coming in from San Francisco, who likes to kind of designate certain receivers to get the ball on this play and get stuff after the catch. It's not really like a Panthers scheme or a Tampa Bay where they're going to be kind of like spread out and you've got to win like your matchup and the quarterback kind of has to pick correctly. No, this is like more, I think, if they want to get Garrett Wilson the ball, they can get Garrett Wilson the ball in creative ways. I don't think he's going to have the biggest rookie wide receiver season, though, just because I don't trust Zach Wilson that much. And I still don't really trust that offense to the point where I would trust something like the Packers if Romeo Doubs, who is not as good as Garrett Wilson, but if Romeo Doubs is on the field all the time, like that offense has got to throw it to somebody, and they're going to put up a lot of passing yards with Rodgers. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I will just go Drake London because really at the end of the day, I don't want to discount receivers for their quarterback situation too much, unless it's like unless their offense is just never going to be on the field because they're going 3 and out every time. But like, I think Drake London's going to be truly phenomenal. Like, I think he's going to be absolutely out of this world. So I might just go with him.
He would probably be my non-Packers biased choice. He's Drake London.
I mean, he's so good.
He's been killing it in camp too.
Yeah,
and there's not a lot of competition in that wide receiver room.
So he could have it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much. Oh no, one more offensive guy, or I guess we haven't really talked about running backs. We haven't really talked about running backs in general. So first guy I want to talk about is Isaiah Pacheco, Kansas City,
the most overrated player.
In
the league right now.
You're right. You're absolutely dead right. Dude went to Rutgers, and I keep seeing this guy on my Twitter timeline. I'm like, okay, I'll bite, and I go and I pull up some Isaiah Pacheco tape last night while I'm like sorting through my clothes because I'm like packing to go back to school, because I leave Sunday, right? So I'm just like, I'll watch some tape. I'll go through some clothes. I get like 15 plays. My general consensus of Pacheco is that he is an aggressive runner, but he is not focused. And there is a reason that he had 3.9 yards per carry last year.
What are we doing?
He had less than 700 yards. I think he had 6 touchdowns.
When you say not you just mean you don't like his vision?
It's not even vision. It's just like, he'll have an opportunity to make a move and he won't. Right. And I'm like, I don't know. It's not even like, there are plays where it's like there was a play where he was running down the line of scrimmage and he had an opportunity to either cut up inside or use the leverage of his offensive lineman turned the guy who had edge protection. He turned him inside. So he could have utilized that leverage, cut outside, made like a Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon-esque jump cut, and he probably would have had a touchdown. But instead he cut up inside. right? And I don't know. He's not afraid of contact. Like people are like, oh, he's such a good blocker. Like he's not afraid of contact. He will go and like attack people. But like there was one play where the quarterback did a boot. It was a play action boot, and Pacheco went to block the second level linebacker because he was coming to blitz to attack the quarterback. And then Pacheco just starts driving this guy down the field, and the quarterback throws the ball. And I'm like, bro, that low key could, like, if the ball was closer to Pacheco, it could have been offensive pass interference. So that's what I'm talking about when I say he's like a little bit unfocused. It's just like stuff like that. I don't see like processing.
Okay. I have not scouted him totally, but I will say this. Being behind like Ronald Jones and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not an insurmountable task.
Yeah.
But I will say, just to say that a 7th round rookie is just better than them right away is like kind of a jump. I think people are kind of overrating or underrating just how easy that is to get a huge target share in a Chiefs backfield over those two players. And Ronald Jones is like, I like Ronald Jones. I think that Bruce Arians just hated him because of like what he was doing in the receiving game. And there would be some drops and some fumbles. And as soon as he did that, like he was very quick to send guys to the doghouse, especially when there was Leonard Fournette behind him.
Yeah.
But like Ronald Jones, to me, is a more talented runner than Leonard Fournette. Like when he doesn't fumble, he is like visibly has more burst and like he's more special with the ball in his hands. And I think like to me, the guy I want in that backfield is legitimately Ronald Jones and not the 7th round rookie. I think that Ronald Jones, who has had good seasons before in the NFL and looked very good before in the NFL before getting into the doghouse in Tampa Bay, that's the guy who I think could really shine without a lot of competition, without a lot of high level competition in that backfield. So that's why I think that Pacheco is overrated. I can't say that I was scouting the 7th round running back before the draft. I don't have that.
No,
kind of
I
time,
didn't. I didn't look at. I had not heard of him before the draft, or before.
I had heard of him as soon as he got drafted. I
hadn't heard of him, but I had noticed that like so many people were talking about this guy, and they're like, why is he so good at everything? And I'm like, okay, I'll bite.
And maybe he's a nice like pleasantly surprising for a 7th round pick. Whereas, but like pleasantly surprising for a 7th round pick is like 300 yards, make the team. The rookie running back I'm truly excited for is Dameon Pierce down in Texas, like Houston. That guy is going to be certified immediately. I fear. If we're talking about like knowing how to read leverage when it comes to running backs and making good cuts and smart decisions. I thought when I watched him, because I've seen highlights, I've seen the play against Florida State where his helmet comes off and he still tries to truck somebody. Like I wasn't quite sure how much nuance I would see in his game. I saw a lot of it. And when you can combine that with like how efficient he was in college and like his general like footwork and physicality, I mean, he can be an every down back in my opinion. He's one of the better. People are hyped about Isaiah Spiller, who has like no vision at all. Give me like Dameon Pierce every day of the week.
Dude,
plays on Sundays.
People are so high on Isaiah Spiller, and I have no clue why, dude.
Yeah, he's not super special to me. I might even take Dameon Pierce over James Cook in terms of like rookie impact.
Really?
So,
in terms of impact.
Yeah.
I think James Cook's like a really good player. Like I like him as a player.
He's nice. He's good between the tackles as well, and he can receive. But like Devin Singletary to me is not a bad player and someone who's better than anyone in Houston. I would take Devin Singletary over Marlon Mack and Rex Burkhead any day of the week. So and like Houston will probably be a little bit more reliant on the running back because it's like Josh Allen does not quite strike me as someone who's going to throw a lot of checkdowns, and Davis Mills sort of does. And Pierce can receive too, and he can block. There's no reason for him not to be on the field a lot to me. But I mean, Matt, I know you agree. I know that you're a James Cook.
I think people are overestimating his fantasy relevance. But then again, in my dynasty draft, it's an auction draft, and James Cook went for more than Kenneth Walker. So I'm a little bit. Like, considerably more. It was insane. This dude's paying ridiculous amounts for James Cook, and I'm like, dude, he's not, like, going to be the running back one there this year and have, like, some, like, big workload. They're still going to play Singletary.
Hasn't Ken Walker had, like, a very limited share of the first team reps?
I don't think Ken Walker is going to be a big impact guy his rookie year. I don't. I think you've got to be patient with him. I think this year they've got Penny on a 1-year deal. Penny's been injured all the time. But I'm a huge Penny fan, as you guys know. And I think, like, with him on a 1-year deal, I think they're not going to be afraid to make him the lead back and take a lot of tread off of his tires, knowing that if he plays himself out of their price range, it's no problem next year because they've got a talented runner behind him. So I think, like, this year is just kind of a year where, you know, they've got fresh legs behind him. They don't need to worry about his contract situation for next year if he, you know, plays himself out of their price range. You know, maybe they re-sign him, maybe they don't. But I look at it like A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones was a really talented back when the Packers drafted A.J. Dillon in the second round. Right. A.J. Dillon didn't do anything his first year, but then was very good his second. This past year, and I think he's going to be very good going forward. I kind of think the same thing about Ken Walker, where it's like, I don't know what he's going to do his rookie year, but if you, like, show some patience, he's really going to be special eventually.
Fair enough.
Run Your Pool is the home of competition, bringing sports fans and their social circles closer together to compete, connect, and make every game matter more. Run Your Pool offers every game type under the sun, from Pick'em and Survivor to fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for sports gaming with customizable features that you don't get anywhere else. I'll say that I made my account on Run Your Pool, which is free, I think, for the Stay Hot Survivor pool if you go to the link. And I made my week 1 lock, and my lock for week 1 was Saints over the Falcons. So,
Theo, I think I made the same pick.
That's who you picked? Oh. Well, now I got to change it. But that's not all. We've teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a pool for us and our listeners. For an opportunity to compete against us, it's simple. Join the pool via the link in the description or at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Sign up for free and make your picks, but don't pick the Saints because we already picked them. But you can if you want. But why not make it more interesting, right? Run Your Pool will be giving out cash prizes to the winner. So if you manage to beat us, you won't walk away empty-handed. So make sure to join today at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Again, that's play.runyourpool.com/stayhot, or just check the link in the description. Who else was in there week 1? I thought there's not a lot of weeks for, like, obviously week 1 is tough because you don't know how any team is yet. They haven't played. So right. I could, like, definitely
last
see
year, I think we all locked the
eliminated.
Vikings over the Bengals or something.
You locked the Vikings over the Bengals. I did not lock the Vikings over the Bengals.
Oh, okay.
But still, yes, I really did think the Vikings would beat the Bengals that week, but I didn't lock it. But it's like, who am I going to say? Maybe Titans over Giants.
Not a ton of good options.
There's not a ton of good
options. Bad.
Titans.
The Falcons can't look great week 1. There's just no way.
Bad.
Who are the Bears playing?
I'd be stunned.
49ers over Bears.
49ers. I think I might have picked that one. That's a really...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure right now the Bears are not going to be awesome.
We haven't talked about Roquan Smith yet.
Let's talk about Roquan Smith. Listen, the Bears are a dumpster fire at this point. Why would you just not want to pay one of your best players?
The only thing I can think of, the only thing is if you get a good receiving option for Roquan Smith, I could see that being a fair trade. If you called the Steelers and said, Steelers, your defense looks good, but your linebackers are ass, you can have Roquan Smith and we get Chase Claypool and a second or third round pick. I would maybe say, because the development of Fields is so important and that is such a bleak unit for them right now, if they trade Roquan for, like, a wide receiver, and I get that they want future assets, but, you know, trade him for Pickens. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But, like, get Fields some damn help, please. It's so rough. It's so bleak with all the injuries they've been having now too in the wide receiving core. I could see trading Roquan for like a receiving weapon, I suppose. So that's, I guess, I would not blame the Bears if they did that. And I think there's some teams out there who have more.
Do you give the Bears enough credit to actually pull that off, though?
I mean, they've screwed up. I would have just paid Roquan Smith and made him the highest paid linebacker. I think that I was watching some Roquan Smith, and I'm going to make a video about him. Like, he's really good in coverage. He's really good at defeating blocks and like worming his way past. Even if you are able to pull or slip a block at the first level and get to him, he can usually defeat it and move past you.
Yeah,
he's a really good linebacker. A little small. His tackling technique is fantastic. Like, he's a really good tackler. So he's good at all aspects of playing the linebacker position. He's one of your best players. He's been ultra productive. Set a good example for what if you do well for this team, you get rewarded, right? That's a good example to set. I would just pay him. But I see so they've already messed it up, in my opinion. But I would maybe consider trading him for like a weapon for Fields, I guess.
But
I'd probably just pay him.
Situation. I don't know what you guys would do with Roquan. I know like PFF says trade him.
I would just pay him. But Theo, you're right. That would be like, oh, maybe they do have some brain cells they can put together to get a receiver. But I really do not trust the Chicago Bears to do that, like, at all.
It's been a polls disaster class, and I know Bears fans. I know what you're thinking because we got this in the live yesterday. Oh, it's a rebuild. You guys don't understand. They're just rebuilding, bro. This is not a good. Some rebuilds go better than others. And when Justin Herbert was in his second year, right, the roster looked a lot better than this. When Joe Burrow was in his second year, the roster looked a lot better than the one the Bears have now. You've got a rookie quarterback who's now 2 years into his rookie deal and has just no shot to succeed because of the weapons you've provided him. If you wanted to rebuild, you should have been at this point the year before you drafted a quarterback when you obviously suck. Now you're at this point 2 years into it. All right. This is not where you're supposed to be right now. You're supposed to be taking advantage of this good young quarterback and the deal that he's on and surrounding him with plentiful, a boon of talent around him. And they've done the complete opposite. And it could screw everything up.
I'm taking a look at the 2017 0-16 Cleveland Browns roster right now. And I don't know if it's significantly worse than the Bears roster right now.
Well, give me Fields over Kaiser.
Give me Fields over Kaiser. But like, your number one receiver was Corey Coleman.
Yeah.
Give me Mooney over Corey Coleman.
I guess.
Like, by a country mile.
Like, it's a bad roster. Don't get me wrong. You have like
the Bears
Ricardo
are going to suck,
Lewis.
though. I think they're
going to be bad. That's my point. Like, I'm like, this team is not good.
The defense will be good enough if they were to reconciliate with. Did I screw up that word? If they are to sign Roquan and get him under contract or do whatever, I have no idea. If he plays week one, the defense will be too good for them to go winless. But they're the worst. They're the worst team.
Yeah, actually,
they are.
Bro, 2016 is actually a closer comparison. You got Cody Kessler, prime Cody Kessler. You got Terrell Pryor, who had 1,000 yards that year.
Give me Mooney Joe over Thomas, Terrell Pryor.
You have Joe Thomas and John Greco on the offensive line, who are actually pretty good. Ogba was not that great. Danny Shelton was not very good. The defensive line was bad. You had Demario Davis and Jamie Collins.
Yeah.
Demario Davis, the current Saints linebacker, was on that team?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. He really turned his career around. Damn. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, Demario Davis, Christian Kirksey, and Jamie Collins. And you had Joe Hayden at corner. And that team went 1-15. That team went 1-15.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. But anyway, they're gonna be bad. They should just pay Roquan. Who else are you gonna pay? He's gonna be good going forward. He's proven it for years and years. He's been good for years and years now. It's not like this 1 year wonder or anything. He was the 10th overall pick who lived up to the expectations. Pay the guy. That's the next step.
Right.
Pay the guy after he does that. That's how this all works. If you draft a guy and he does great for you, you give him the next contract. He's earned it. You should just do that, right? If it's a 1-year wonder situation, then maybe you let a guy walk in free agency. But if you take a guy who's been like a Pro Bowl or Pro Bowl caliber player this whole time, like just pay the guy. It sets a good example. It's good for the locker room. It's good for you because you get this good player. Like I'm just very pro.
It's a win-win-win-win-win, right?
Yeah,
you can't lose doing that.
That's right.
There are some corners that have had some interesting performances at practice. Trayvon Diggs has had some instances of getting cooked. Are you concerned? Or
I don't blame him for deleting his Twitter account. I'd do the same thing if I was trending on Twitter because everybody was laughing at me. I'd deactivate.
I guess. I
agree.
Would you guys deactivate or would you stay? I mean, Bladen, you just got 1,000 replies for your Mahomes thing.
I'm the strong. I have the strongest will of all time.
If you were trending on Twitter because you were getting cooked one-on-one, like, would you say I'm going to lock in? I'm not going to listen to this outside noise. It's bad for my mental health. It's bad for, I'm getting sucked into it. I'm angry.
I think
would
you
you
can
just be like, I'm going to disconnect and just.
I think you can lock in without deactivating. Like,
I guess.
But if you don't have
it. I just wouldn't. I'd be like,
but
you
like,
guys,
if
like,
you don't
I'm
have the
sick of it.
mental, if you don't have like the mental willpower to like, push through that, like then deactivate it. Like, I get it. He's just not that mentally tough, I guess. Nah, I'm just playing. I get it. I get it.
I don't think you are just playing. I think you meant that, and then you said, "I'm just playing" at the end.
Nah.
I'm just wondering where you stand. I'm just wondering, like, do you think it's?
I would not
deactivate.
I wouldn't deactivate.
Okay.
Personally,
I believe that.
That's just me.
Matt, I think you would deactivate.
Theo knows I am not.
Pretty easily.
I am not afraid of the smoke. Okay, I said the Saints would go 0-17, and yes, it was because Clutch Points asked me to make a very aggressive take. But like, I stuck by that shit.
You did say that.
So
I'm concerned about Trayvon Diggs, though. I mean, I think that he definitely is like someone.
That's bullshit, though.
What?
Bladen, you can't say you stuck by it and then blame it on Clutch Points.
No, I'm not blaming it on them. I stuck by.
That's bullshit. Nope. Stand. If you're standing by, say I really thought that. You're saying, well, first off, it wasn't even my fault, but I will stand by.
I said no. The way that conversation went was I was like, I don't think the Saints are going to be very good next year. They're in cap hell right now, $100 million in cap debt. And they're like, so what do you want to say? And I was like, I don't know, the Saints won't be good. And like more. And I'm like, Saints will go 0-16. And they're like, there we go. So then I do not
remember it going like that. I really don't remember it going like that.
That was a one-on-one. That was a one-on-one text.
I don't remember hearing about that until this. You made this up.
You wouldn't have that conversation. What do you...
Well, this year
I haven't heard that story until now. You lied.
On December 24th, you said, I was a year early on Saints 0-17. You said that earlier this year with no Clutch Points influence. So what's your Saints projection this year? You think they'll miss the playoffs?
You need any topics for this week? Wanted to get real creative with NFL. The Saints will go 0-16 next year. I love it.
They did not pressure you to say any of that. They said, I want to get creative.
Yeah, that was creative.
You just said that.
That was creative. That was creative.
That was not, they did not say,
They said, think of something creative. And you said, well, I guess if I have to say the Saints are going to go winless.
That is not how that went down. But anyway, you didn't deactivate your account after the Saints.
I didn't.
In fact,
I didn't.
Almost made the playoffs.
Or maybe I would, if I was making a bunch of money playing in the NFL, I wouldn't even have Twitter.
Yeah, I don't think I would either. I would. Like, what are you going to talk about?
No way.
I think I would just. I think I would just tweet memes. I would just tweet memes. I think that's what I would do.
Yeah, but anyway,
I don't know.
I
would just tweet clapping back at people trying to show everyone how little I care about what people think about me, but really proving the opposite.
Is that a Kevin Durant subtweet here?
You said it, not me.
The other corner that we wanted to talk a little bit about was Khair Alam. You guys, Theo, did you say that people have been down on him in camp?
Yeah, he's been getting cooked. Yeah, according to Twitter or according to the
from what I've
reports, is that he has had a bad training camp.
Okay, I just like searched up Khair Alam on Twitter before we started recording, and everything that I read is that over the past like week and a half, he has been the first one to show up to practice, and it's been like him and like two other guys are the last ones to leave.
Doesn't mean you're playing well.
Dan Feeds tweeted out stock up for practice today. Ed Oliver, Khair Alam, Isaiah McKenzie, OJ Howard. I'm just saying, like, if he's been underwhelming in the spring, like they were saying that he has a big improvement from spring to now.
All of these seem like PR. Like, oh, he's the first one. He's gotten so much better. Look, has he been winning or losing? Rookie first-round pick Khair Alam has been a consistent target throughout camp for Allen and company, and there have been a lot more bad beats in the open field.
Khair Alam with a nice recovery to block a pass intended for Stephon Diggs.
All right, if you're cherry picking like the highlights, look,
I'm just scrolling through Twitter right now.
People, look, it's a rookie. Everyone is going to be high on rookies. I'm talking about how Romeo Dubs, like, I've seen so much Romeo Dubs like support. I haven't seen. It is so much harder to find a negative report on somebody than a positive one.
Fair.
According to The Athletic, there's been a lot more bad than good for Khair Alam. That's not to say he's been cooked.
I trust The Athletic.
That's not to say that he's going to get cooked his rookie year, but it's a hard position to play.
It is a very hard position to play.
Anytime that someone is like, because it is so hard to find any bad news on any player in training camp, everything is awesome all the time. When you do see something like that, it does make me raise an eyebrow a little bit, because it's usually all sunshine and roses for every player. So
the big thing that I have seen is that like the Bills are mostly just impressed with like how mature he is and how he's like a super hard worker. So even if he is struggling early on, I think he'll eventually get good just because he works. And I think that does translate to success.
I think so too. I'm just saying, like, there has been some bad news about Alam.
Okay.
But it's not a big deal. That's the thing. It's training camp. We're reaching on all of this.
I'm a big Khair Alam fan. All right.
I am too.
He's my guy. But I don't know. Matt, is there anyone you wanted to talk about out of camp defensively?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Where's JC Horn, man? When's he going to practice?
I have no idea.
He's still
I
out,
genuinely have not been keeping up with the Panthers that much.
This man has given up.
Horn is
not
still
with training
not
camp stuff. It's a total crapshoot. I mean, who even knows? Like, I'll watch the preseason games.
Yeah,
and get something off that. But I'm not going to take too much off tweets from training camps and whatnot.
We have preseason games coming up, so it'll be interesting.
Yes. First one is on Thursday, no? Or Saturday, something. I don't know. Who knows? Next time we record,
we're a sports podcast. We don't know what's going on. I don't know any sports dates. The only thing I know is the Browns play the Steelers, I think September 22nd.
That's like week 3, dude. The season starts September 8th. I know that.
Yes, because my number one player comes out September 7th.
Yes.
One day before the season starts. What can I say? My timing is impeccable.
Let's move on to the Rank It.
Let's move on to the Rank It. Well, before we move on to the Rank It, I just want to remind everyone to go and join the chalkboard chat. If you want to submit questions of the week, or have us rank something on the podcast, or just talk with us about sports. There's games that are going to be going on. People might want to talk baseball with us. You can or at least try and talk baseball with us, Chalkboard's the place to do all of that. It's a great line of communication from us to you guys, the listeners, so we can really help grow our community and build this podcast together. Plus, Chalkboard has a ton of cool features like live box scores, so you can talk with us about a game as it's going on and follow right along within the app. And by far the coolest feature is the live bet tracking, so you can see what bets we and everyone else is placing and how they perform. We love Chalkboard. We know you guys will too. So make sure you download the app today, join the Stay Hot group, or just check out the links in our social bios or the link in the description of the YouTube. But today's Rank It is superheroes. We're going to do a top 5 superheroes. And yeah,
first responders, number 1. Show some damn respect. First responders are the best
real heroes. The real heroes. I don't know. Do Jedi count as superheroes?
No.
No?
No.
Not even a little bit?
I don't think they're superheroes. I think that they're just people in the Star Wars universe. I don't know. I don't think of them as superheroes. They do have powers, but they don't even do shit in Star Wars. They just sit around in their council and like talk, and then they let the Empire take over. The Jedi were actually an extremely useless like group of people in the Star Wars universe, I fear. So, and then they let them take them over again, like multiple times. So,
what do you mean
they just like meet? Well, like they beat the Death Star, and then all of a sudden the First Order is back. Like, 20 years later. Okay. What are you guys doing? Maybe the Star Wars, right? Like maybe the First Order was better if, you can't get a functioning government to like prevent the planet blowing up people. Like what was the government before?
They did. They formed a new republic, and the First Order was also forming, and it was like because it was a power vacuum. So they had 2 like forming governments forming at the same time. The only difference was the First Order was able to form a military.
They're the more buttoned up people, What are the Jedi been able to get done? They just let the First Order step all over them all the time.
I mean, the reason why like the Jedi, like you're kind of right.
You want to really be heroic, Jedi. Put together a better system of government that prevents these things from happening in the first place. Like, congratulations, you stopped them. Like, what are you going to do after that? That's what really matters.
And then ran away.
They're not.
Yeah, I mean, Luke formed the new Jedi Academy, then scared away his prized pupil, and then like hid away in the mountains for
the Jedi
like
are useless
30 years.
People. They're a useless group of people. They didn't do shit for anybody. You look at like Tatooine, even when like way before, like the amount of like wealth disparity in that galaxy was crazy. You go look at like the criminal underbelly. They weren't running shit well. Anyway,
slavery.
Yeah, rampant slavery. They were horrible leaders. Yeah. They're letting even worse people take over. Anyway, not superheroes.
Crazy. Not superheroes. You're right. All right. I have a top 6, but it's really I guess I'll just give the top 5. Number 5, I have Spider-Man. Number 4, I have Thor. Number 3, I have Wonder Woman. Number 2, I have Batman. And number 1, I have Iron Man.
Explain to me the Thor and Wonder Woman picks.
What's wrong with Thor and Wonder Woman?
I just like in what do you like movie versions, or like are you a comics guy? Or
I'm a movies guy. I'm more of a movies guy. But Wonder Woman. So this is
based mostly off of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
You don't like Wonder Woman?
No, I don't. Sorry. So
you didn't like the movie?
The politically correct mob is going to get me for this one, but like sadly Wonder Woman, both of them were not good. Like I'm sorry. They were both messes. Gal Gadot cannot act. I'm so sorry. There's a lot of great female actors out there who get too much shit just because I couldn't tell you. Just because they're girls. In so many things, there's so many like female characters who get way too much hate. Gal Gadot like is not a good actress. She's not a good actress. She's like a model. Clearly, like she'll power
Okay,
pose
but
and,
like I'm not
not a good
ranking.
actress.
I'm not ranking like actress. I'm just ranking like how cool of a character. I think it's a cool character. I think Wonder Woman's a cool character.
She
with
might
cool
be.
Powers.
I just didn't. She did not speak to me with the movies. Maybe in like the TV shows or the comics or something.
I'm just saying, like, as far as someone like with like, as far as powers go, and as far as
got
like
a rope.
a rope that you can make anyone tell the truth. What?
It's not.
Nah, that's wild,
man.
Nah, that's wild, dog. You can make anyone tell the truth.
The rope of truth.
She literally.
Like, you asked me if I'm like, I can tell that's like an invention for that's like someone in the 1920s thought of that, because like it's like she's got like this lie detector test. Okay.
Nah, that's a goated superpower. And then she literally beat Hades. She literally beat the god of the like what the
I think the rope is kind of cool. I don't know. I have nothing against Wonder Woman. I don't watch any superhero movies. I haven't seen them.
I guess I don't have anything against Wonder Woman. I just think that those movies got like crazy overrated because
I
they're
loved
not
them.
that special.
I loved both movies.
You love every movie, dude. We asked you to name a bad movie last night and you couldn't do it.
I can appreciate creativity.
You can appreciate the bad in every movie.
I can find entertainment in things that aren't good.
Clear.
But
what about Thor? Because I don't like. We've talked about Thor too. I think that Thor is
why,
like.
Why don't you like Thor? About,
I just think like Endgame, he was like fat and annoying and just a buzzkill.
I can understand, but like at the same time,
really
I
cooled
think
me on Thor.
Thor's character arc to me is really interesting because he starts off as this like super arrogant. Him and he's very similar to Iron Man, which is probably why I like him so much, because I love the Iron Man character. But it's like a super arrogant, all powerful, right? He has his hammer and whatnot, and then he like goes to Earth and like gets humbled and whatnot, and then like
and then
he's kind of the
hilarious
same.
Quippy king,
but then he's the same for a few movies. But then in Infinity War, or not in Ragnarok, he gets his hammer destroyed, and he has to realize that he's not the god of hammers; he's the god of thunder, right? So like, then he learns to use his powers without his hammer, and then he gets Stormbreaker, and then in Infinity War, he's like totally like unstoppable, the greatest, like most powerful thing we've ever seen, and then. But then, like, over the course of this time, you have to think about he's lost his mom, he's lost his girlfriend, he's lost his dad, and then he had to kill his sister, and he lost his brother. He lost his mom, his dad, his girlfriend, his sister, and his brother in the span of what, like 10 years? That's wild. That's absolutely wild. So you're like, well, I can't, and then he couldn't even manage.
Which one of the Avengers has all of their family?
But like
a single family member.
But then he feels responsible for the snap, right? He felt responsible. He's like, I could have. That's what I'm saying. So it's like he lost his entire family, and then he failed to kill. And then he failed. He was right there, and then he failed to kill the most evil being the galaxy has ever seen. And he couldn't like.
He tried to get like one more quip off. That's what he tried. That's what killed his family. One too many quips. If he had just done the job.
And then he got fat, and then he didn't even want to help anybody afterwards.
I don't blame him for getting
loser.
Fat. I'd feel like shit too. He's like, I can't even do this right. God damn, bro. No, I get it. So I think his character arc is pretty spot on. But
I like the Iron Man pick. I like the Spider-Man pick. I think that those are two classics. I've got those two as my top two. I have Hulk number 3. I think that he's interesting. Cool. Like, you can't get too angry, otherwise you're just going to turn into this big.
But what's his secret? What's his secret? Do you know his secret?
He's always angry. I don't like what Marvel has done. It's shocking for me. Marvel has totally nixed him, where he's just like, well, he can be Hulk all the time and he's normal. What? That's ruining Hulk. Like, that just ruins the point. You shouldn't be normal Hulk. You should just be angry. Like, that's what's interesting about Hulk is that he can't get angry. And now he's just like, well, now he's just Hulk all the time and he's just normal. It's like, okay. Well so I don't like, I guess.
He's
I don't
weaker,
like this
though.
version of.
He's weaker, though.
He's weaker, though. They've ruined him, but I like the like idea of him. I like the nerdy X-Men Quicksilver, the one with like the goofy ass costume who can like go really fast. I like that guy. And then for number 5, I wrote firefighters, but I'm going to change it to Ant-Man because I think that he's one of the like because Marvel tries to make every character the quippy legend, but I think that the first Ant-Man movie is genuinely kind of funny. And I like Paul Rudd, so I'll say Ant-Man number 5. Those are all. I'm not a big superhero guy, as you can tell.
Well,
so that's a pretty basic list. But
my honorable mention, my one honorable mention was I guess it would be no, it's just one. Wolverine, Logan.
Yeah, look, that's pretty good.
I love, but like I didn't like a lot of the original Wolverine. I think like it was the first or the second Wolverine movie. I can't remember which one it is.
If you're going off the movies, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is like 10 leagues above Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. That's all I'll say.
But I love the movie Logan is, I've said, one of my favorite movies of all time. That movie is a masterpiece, I think.
Because it's a real movie. You should watch more. It's like they try. They really do try in that one. It's a great movie.
It's so good. It's so good.
There's so many movies like that, man. That you.
Theo,
would be
send me a list of movies. Send me a list of movies that are like Logan. I'll watch them.
Okay, I will watch any. Watch like I will. I will do that.
All right. Matt, what's your top 5?
I've got going 5 to 1. Detective Chimp, Big Barda, 3D Man, Firebird, and then my parents at 1 because I'm that dick.
Run that by me one more time.
Detective Chimp, Big Barda, 3D Man, Firebird, my parents.
Dude, 3D Man is way too high, bro. Detective Chimp, switch him and Detective Chimp, and it's a perfect list.
That's my list.
Mad respect for putting your parents at number 1.
I'd move them down like 5 notches. But again, they're not my parents, so like I don't quite feel that loyalty. Well, I think that's a good spot to leave.
Yeah, I feel there's a lot of honorable mentions. I won't get into them now, but I had to cut it down to 5. That's who I picked.
Fair enough. I think that pretty much wraps things up for us. As always, tons of content coming on all platforms. We'll be back. With the next Stay Hot episode, I will be back at school. I won't be doing classes yet, but I'll be in my apartment. So, hey, that's pretty good. But as always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, and Lemon Boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.
What's up, y'all? I'm David.
And it's your boy, Justice.
Considering getting back with an ex? Want to know if a pickup line worked? Or maybe you just stuck in the friend zone.
Don't Trip is advice at no price. Catch new episodes of Don't Trip on YouTube every week.
Don't trip.
We got you.